A very good day to all of you. Today we will talk on topic high performance liquid chromatography. As you know, high performance liquid chromatography or HPLC is really the automation of traditional liquid chromatography under conditions which provide for enhanced separations during shorter periods of time. Probably the most widely practiced form of quantitative analytical chromatography practiced today due to the wide range of molecule types and sizes which can be separated using HPLC. As you know, classical liquid chromatography as well as column chromatography. So HPLC is extension of that, one of the advanced chromatographic technique. So we will explore this topic on various parameters. First of all, just have a look over here on slide, different techniques under liquid chromatography. So here we have mentioned type of chromatography based on mobile phase and stationary phase. As you are aware, in adsorption chromatography, mobile phase is liquid and stationary phase is solid, which is held in a tubular column. In partition chromatography, mobile phase is liquid, stationary phase is liquid. So here, liquid is adsorbed on a porous support in a tubular column, or maybe in case of paper chromatography, whatever the water droplet molecules are there, they are playing role as a stationary phase which are held in fibers of cellulose filter paper. In thin layer chromatography, we have already seen here mobile phase is liquid, here stationary phase is either liquid or solid, that is liquid adsorbed on a solid support or solid held on a glass plate. Paper chromatography, as we discussed, mobile phase is liquid and stationary phase is liquid held in pores of paper. Gel chromatography, again mobile phase is liquid, here stationary phase is liquid held in the interstices of a polymeric gel. Ion exchange chromatography as well as ion pair chromatography, mobile phase is liquid in nature and stationary phase is solid, that is resin held in tubular column in case of ion exchange chromatography. And in ion pair chromatography, the solid material held in tubular column. So these are various techniques under liquid chromatography. Now we will explore high performance liquid chromatography, that is HPLC. In liquid chromatography, generally liquid is used as a mobile phase. Various techniques under liquid chromatography based on the kind of stationary phase used, as you have just seen or enlisted over here. In adsorption, partition, gel, and ion exchange chromatography, if you observe carefully, the stationary phase is filled in a tubular column made up of either glass or metal. Hence, this type of chromatography is called as column chromatography. Whereas in thin layer and paper chromatography, the stationary phase is present in one plane, either a glass plate or a paper. And this kind of chromatographic technique is termed as planar chromatography. So hope you understood what is the exact difference or why we are giving name or using name as planar chromatography, and another part is about column chromatography. So planar chromatography already we have seen thin layer chromatography, paper chromatography, as well as high performance thin layer chromatography, isn't it? So let us move here on column chromatography first. as this will be prerequisite to understand our HPLC. In column chromatography, the stationary phase in the form of silica gel, alumina, silicate, or diatomaceous earth is filled in a glass column or stainless steel column of uniform diameter, whatever you are observing over here. The normal length of the column, that is length of stationary phase, is around 50 to 500 centimeter, and diameter of the column is 1 to 5 centimeter. The particle size of the stationary phase is in the range of 150 to 200 micrometer. The mobile phase used is either a single solvent or a mixture of solvents. A chromatographic technique carried out by using a polar stationary phase and a less polar or non-polar mobile phase is called as normal phase chromatography. On the other hand, if the stationary phase is less polar or non-polar compared to the mobile phase, the technique is called as reverse phase chromatography, isn't it? So are you getting, learners? See here in diagram, stationary phase is non-polar. That is example of reverse phase chromatography. Here sample will pass over here on this chromatographic column, and mobile phase is polar, that is aqueous in nature. So here C18 mobile phase generally we can use, or maybe C8 stationary phase we can use, isn't it? So for C8 and C18 we have to modify silica. So in what way we can modify silica, that we will see. Also, this is a representation of normal phase chromatography. If you observe carefully, here sample is going here on a chromatographic column, here separation occurs, and mobile phase is non-polar in nature, isn't it? Just take an example of hexane. So this is representation of normal phase chromatography, isn't it? Means what is the takeaway? In normal phase chromatography, stationary phase is polar, mobile phase is non-polar. Whereas in reverse phase chromatography, stationary phase is non-polar and mobile phase is polar. An important point in chromatographic method development is about elution pattern. Means what will be the criteria to go ahead or to choose normal phase chromatography or reverse phase chromatography. So based on nature of solute, we have to select whether we have to go for normal phase chromatographic separation or reverse phase chromatographic separation. If we are going normal phase chromatographic separation, so what will be elution pattern, that we will see. And if we are adopting reverse phase chromatographic technique, then what will be elution pattern, which kind of analytes or solute will elute first. That discussion we will do. First of all, we will try to see in what way silica surfaces gets modified. Isn't it? This is a slide representation of reverse phase chromatographic technique, isn't it? So first of all, if you observe over here, this is a representation of reverse phase liquid chromatography. So here, this is a column. These are the solute or the analytes, whatever we are going to separate. So representation of analyte with blue color, least polar, then green, intermediate polar, and red, most polar. So when separation happens, the kind of solutes get separated. See, least polar and most polar means first portion of elution of solute will be red in color or red in band. Why it is then? So for that purpose, you should know in reverse phase chromatography, stationary phase is non-polar, isn't it? Whereas mobile phase is polar. So those solutes are more polar in nature. They will travel very fast here on column. And stationary phase is non-polar, so obviously the solutes which is having less polarity, they will retain on column for longer time during chromatographic separation, isn't it? So based on that elution pattern or whatever the retention time we are getting of individual solute on this chromatogram, detector response versus time. So most polar, that is red portion will come first, then intermediate polar, that is green portion, and then later on blue portion, isn't it? So this is a elution pattern in reverse phase chromatography. So when we are going for reverse phase chromatographic technique, we require silica gel, isn't it? Which shows property to act as a non-polar in nature. So in this case, what happened, instead of direct use of silica gel, its modified surface is made. The surface modification is carried out by forming a covalent bond between silica gel and a reagent like chlorooctadisylsilane. This is a silica gel and this is chlorooctadisylsilane. The chemical reaction between these two that you are observing over here gets reacted to form modified surface of silica gel. That is, silica gets attached or gets bonded with octadisylsilane surface. In the modified surface of silica gel, R represents the octadisyl group. What is octadisyl group? That is C18H37 alkyl chain. A chemical reaction between silica gel and chlorooctadisylsilane converts a polar surface of silica gel because of the exposed hydroxyl group into a non-polar one because of the exposed alkyl group instead of an hydroxyl group. The columns which make use of such bonded stationary phases are referred to as bond pack columns. The columns with octadisylsilane as a stationary phase are referred to as C18 columns, that is C18. Instead of using chlorooctadisylsilane, if chlorooctylsilane, what will be difference between chlorooctadisyl and octyl? Chlorooctylsilane is when R represents C8H17. Then the column is referred to as C8 column, which is more polar compared to C18 column, but is less polar compared to normal silica gel column, whatever we are using in normal phase chromatography. Thus, the surface of silica gel can be modified so as to provide the required polarity to the stationary phase. So that is the case. So when you see this slide again about comparison about normal phase and reverse phase chromatographic technique. So what we are observing over here now in the reverse phase chromatography, however, since the stationary phase is less polar, polar solutes interact more with the mobile phase and move down the column faster along with it. Whereas the less polar or non-polar solutes interact more with the stationary phase and are retained for a longer time in the column. isn't it? And exactly opposite in normal phase chromatography. What will happen now? You can guess in normal phase chromatography. In the normal phase chromatography, since the stationary phase is more polar, polar solutes interact more with it and they are retained for a longer time in a column, whereas the less polar or non-polar solutes interact more with the mobile phase and move down the column faster along with it. Thus, the order of elution of solute is non-polar solute first, then the solute of intermediate polarity, and at the end, the solutes which are more polar in nature that will come out from chromatographic column. So clear this concept? Therefore, the order of elution of solutes is exactly reverse as compared to that in the normal phase chromatography, in reverse phase chromatography. Thus, the order of elution in the reverse phase chromatography is, what will be pattern then in reverse phase chromatography? More polar solutes elute first, then the solutes of intermediate polarity, and at the end, the solutes which are less polar or non-polar in nature. Isn't it? So ordinarily, the mobile phase is passed through a column under the force of gravity. Chromatography carried out under normal pressure is called as classical chromatography. However, many a times, because of few distinct advantages, a mobile phase is passed under pressure through a column. In such a case, the technique is called as high pressure liquid chromatography, that is HPLC. So can you guess why need for high pressure in liquid chromatography? As you know, in classical liquid chromatography, to assure a reasonable flow rate of the mobile phase, the particle size of the stationary phase is kept larger, that is in the range of 150 to 200 micrometer. The bigger particle size of the stationary phase offers less resistance to the flow of mobile phase. In spite of this, the flow rate less than an ml per minute or few drops per minute is achieved. Thus, in classical liquid chromatography, the time required for the separation of solutes is long. This can lead to an undesirable phenomena of band broadening, thereby leading to the less efficient separation. So, dear learners, in order to reduce the time of analysis, it is essential to increase the flow rate of the mobile phase. The flow rate of the mobile phase is increased either by passing the mobile phase under pressure from the top of the column or by applying vacuum at the lower end of the column. However, increase in the flow rate of the mobile phase to complete analysis at a faster rate leads to the decrease in the column efficiency. Decrease in column efficiency means what? As we have seen in Van Diem equation, that will be increased value of H. So that's why need for high pressure in liquid chromatography. The chromatographic technique in which the mobile phase is passed under pressure is known as high pressure liquid chromatography, that is HPLC. Since it provides higher efficiency for the separation of compounds, it is also termed as high performance liquid chromatography. This technique requires sophisticated instrumentation as compared to that used in classical liquid chromatography. So this leads to the increased cost of instrumentation. So when we are talking about instrumentation in HPLC, so we will see various components of HPLC. So if you are observing over here on this slide, block diagram of HPLC. Here solvent reservoirs are there. Then degassing system. Later on mixing vessel. With the help of pump, mobile phase is going towards over here pre-column. That is a guard column. From this, it will go towards detector along with sample injection port. Whatever sample or the mixture we have to separate on chromatographic column, that we will inject over here on this chromatographic column. This is analytical column, that is called as chromatographic column. Then it will go towards detector to waste or fraction collector. Then it means these are components. Solvent reservoir is one component, then degassing system, then pumps, pre-columns, sample injection system, then analytical columns, thermostat, and kind of detectors used in HPLC. So we will see individual component along with their specification for better understanding. Anyway, can you guess now what will be overall flow here on this diagram? In what way HPLC works? See, lower pressure pumping system for the supply of eluent to column is used. Because of this pressure, what will happen? That the flow rates achieved are relatively low, and this gives greater time for band broadening by simple diffusion phenomena if low pressure gets activated over here. Then the use of faster flow rate is not possible because it creates a back pressure which is sufficient to damage the matrix structure of the stationary phase. The appropriate solvent or mobile phase from the reservoirs are allowed to enter the mixing chamber where a homogeneous mixture is obtained. A pump capable of maintaining high pressure draws the solvent from the mixing chamber and pushes it through the column. The sample is injected through a port into the high pressure liquid carrier stream between the pump and the column. The separation takes place on column which vary from 50 to 100 centimeter in length and 2 to 3 mm in internal diameter. Typical flow rate are 1 to 2 ml per minute with pressure up to several thousands psi. Column effluent passes through a non-destructive detector where a property such as UV absorbance, refractive index, or molecular fluorescence is monitored, amplified, and recorded as a typical detector response versus retention time chromatogram. And this effluent may be either discarded, recycled, or saved for further studies in a fraction collector, which is synchronized with the detector. So this is the overall working of HPLC. So you will get all this flow when we will try to explore individual components of HPLC. So let us move ahead. We will talk about solvent reservoir, specifications of solvent reservoir, then what is isocratic elution and gradient elution. So high pressure liquid chromatography makes use of single solvent or mixture of solvents as a mobile phase, which is contained in a reservoir. The elution of solutes from their mixture, when carried out by using a single mobile phase of constant composition, is called as isocratic elution. And when a mixture contains solutes of extreme polarities, one polar and another non-polar, separations cannot be carried out within a reasonable time period by using a single mobile phase. If a non-polar mobile phase is used throughout the separation of such a mixture, a non-polar solute would get eluted out faster, but a very long time would be required for the elution of polar compound. So in order to elute out a polar compound, also within a reasonable time period, another mobile phase, which is polar in nature, is required to be used for such samples. And when the elution is carried out by using two, sometimes more mobile phases that differ significantly in polarity, it is termed as gradient elution. The modern HPLC equipments have two or more reservoirs from which different solvents can be introduced into a chamber at the rates which can be varied so as to adjust the polarity of the mobile phase. So clear concept about isocratic elution and gradient elution. Isocratic elution represents single solvent, whereas gradient elution, two or more solvents which we can use during analysis. A solvent reservoir should be inert to a variety of solvents like water, methanol, acetonitrile, which are commonly used in HPLC. Hence, usually glass and stainless steel reservoirs of around 500 to 1000 ml, that is 1 liter capacity, are used. The HPLC column is very sensitive to impurities, and therefore the solvents used as a mobile phase require special treatment. The special HPLC grade solvents are also available in the market, which take care of the impurities in the solvents. Then another important part during processing is about degassing of mobile phase. Degassing of these solvents should be done so as to remove air or oxygen dissolved in them, which if present in the mobile phase can rupture the packing of the column or can produce unwanted peaks in the chromatogram. So degassing of the mobile phase can be done by any one of these methods: by filtration under vacuum, by distillation, by ultrasonication, or by sparging an inert gas of low solubility. So in first part, that is by filtration under vacuum, filtration of the mobile phase using vacuum removes all dissolved air or oxygen from the mobile phase. Millipore filters are commonly used for the filtration of the mobile phase. By distillation of the mobile phase, when the required mobile phase is distilled under vacuum, the distillate becomes free of dissolved air or oxygen. Then in ultrasonication, sonication is the act of applying sound energy to agitate particles in a sample for various purposes. Ultrasonication is the sonication using ultrasound, that is a sound with the frequency greater than the upper limit of human hearing, maybe approximately 20 kilohertz. In the laboratory, ultrasonication is usually achieved by using an ultrasonic bath or an ultrasonic probe known as a sonicator. If a container bearing the mobile phase is kept in an ultrasonic bath, the mobile phase becomes free of dissolved air or oxygen. So this is an alternative to the sparging method, that is by sparging of an inert gas of low solubility. What will happen in this method? Sparging, also known as a gas flushing. It is a technique which involves bubbling a chemically inert gas of low solubility, such as argon or helium, through the mobile phase. This can be used to remove dissolved oxygen and nitrogen that interfere by forming bubbles in the column. Along with the degassing system, HPLC chromatogram also contains a means of filtering dust and particulate matter from the mobile phase. Clear in what way degassing of mobile phase remove air, oxygen, dissolved if at all present in the mobile phase, and improve efficiency of our separation. So dear learners, we will take a halt over here as a part 1 of this session by using quote of the day. The essence of great leadership is influence, not authority. So thank you very much. See you in next session.